Time now for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson. Sponsored by Ouachita Valley Respiratory Care and Beth Smith at Edward Jones. Question: why is Susan B. Anthony so famous? Those of you history buffs like me will know the answer. I've covered her before on the air, but for the uneducated, here is all you need to know about her. Susan B. Anthony, the B stands for Brownell, though her birth name was simply Susan Anthony, fought for causes which, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, were so progressive that they were nothing short of revolutionary, particularly as they were being advocated by a woman. Raised in a Quaker family, Anthony was morally opposed to the slavery still legal and widely practiced in the U.S. by the time she was an adult. In 1856, she was named the head of the New York chapter of the American Anti-Slavery Society, and during the Civil War, fought over slavery. Anthony helped create the emancipation-minded Women's National Loyal League. The temperance movement, arguing for widespread abstinence from alcohol, if not banning it outright, was among the first major political and social movements in the country in which women led the charge. That's due in large part to sexism in the early days of the movement in the 1840s. After she wasn't allowed to address the crowd at a temperance rally in New York in 1852, Anthony formed the influential Women's New York Temperance Society. But the biggest and most important impact Anthony would have on American life and government, attaining the right to vote for half of the country's population. Along with Elizabeth Cady Stanton, she formed the women's suffrage advocating newspaper, The Revolution, in 1868. And then the National Woman Suffrage Association. She quit work on the publication to go on a lecture tour of the U.S., speaking out in favor of and popularizing the idea that women should have the vote. Anthony voted in the 1872 presidential election, an illegal act. In the well-publicized trial that would serve her cause, Anthony reasoned that since she was an American citizen, under the language of the 14th Amendment, that she had the right to cast her ballot. She was quickly convicted and fined $100, which she refused to pay, and never did. After Elizabeth Cady Stanton stepped down in 1892, Anthony assumed the presidency of the National American Woman Suffrage Association, which, thanks in part to her speaking engagements and legal challenges, had grown into a large organization, uniting other and smaller suffrage groups. She spoke at two of the most widely attended events of her day, the 1893 Chicago World's Fair and the Lewis and Clark Expedition in Portland in 1905. She died a year later, 14 years before women would finally be granted full voting rights. Till next time, I'm Price Robertson. Amazed by today's trivia? Then join me every Monday through Friday morning for Trivia Tracks on Fox Sports Camden 97.1.